Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone and Rovi, and today we're going to talk about Fetch.AI. We've been going ham on this AI stuff, and we're just one deeper with Fetch.AI.
Yeah, I think we're going to complete the holy trifecta of AI, Web3, I guess, primitives, potentially.
Yeah, so we talked about Tensor, we talked about Ocean Protocol, and now we're going deeper on Fetch.AI.
Yeah, so they all have like their own unique value adds to the overall encompassing, Web3 AI space, which as of right now, I guess there's a lot of hype surrounding it.
Yeah.
Because just AI in general, and we always been talking about, we knew the AI and blockchain sectors would intersect at some point in the future. It seems like it's starting to happen, but actually it's been happening because these projects have been in development for several years. Fetch.AI in particular, since 2017.
Yep.
I believe the actual deployment of like all their chain happened in 2019. So this isn't like, again, this is why we're labeling these three as like the trifecta, because they have longevity, they have presence. They're not just capitalizing on the hype.
That's right.
They're actually legitimately trying to provide some sort of a foundation for a whole Web3 AI economy to build on top of, right?
Yeah, so CoinGecko doesn't show all the way back from 2017, but they've been working on it since then, and they've had quite the spike in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably mostly corollary just to the overall market, like exuberance. So I don't think the market really, the last bull cycle was kind of ignorant of AI.
Yeah,
right? The
100%.
thing most people were capitalizing on was, the metaverse, NFTs, DeFi, stuff like this. But I think everyone's gearing up for the potential of AI in this coming up bull market, right? So
yeah, if you notice here, this was November 2022, and what launched in November 2022?
ChatGPT.
That's right. And so, of course, we had an explosion.
Yep.
Fetch.AI was the obvious token to take advantage.
Correct. So, yeah, I mean, this is during a bear market, right? So there's not many sectors that are experiencing, I would say,
explosive,
pretty semi-explosive growth other than the AI one. So we don't really know the extent of how exuberant the market's going to get over AI crypto tokens yet, because it's still early days. And then the more you do due diligence on these projects, you really start to realize how complex and unproven a lot of this is. And they're barely in they're barely exiting their research phase.
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
just now entering their
product discovery.
Exactly. Yeah. Product market fit phase. Who knows if developers will even gravitate towards these types of frameworks and start, building stuff.
So let's get into Fetch.AI's premise. So let me visit the website here, Fetch.AI. And this one's very complicated, right? So this is generally complex in terms of what they're doing, what they've been doing, and what product offering they have today. So they have this new thing called an agent verse.
Yeah.
And so it seems to us that they are allowing developers to string together a bunch of agents. So what is an agent? An agent is a machine learning algorithm that takes advantage of a particular activity. Say, for example, that you wanted to go on a trip, right? You could ask an agent to go and book you a flight.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of you going to a bunch of interfaces on the internet and looking for times and all that and flight directions and just all kinds of stuff that you would do to book a flight, an agent can do that for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so the idea behind Fetch.AI, or at least the agent verse of Fetch.AI, is to string a bunch of these agents to, instead of booking just a flight, why not get an itinerary for a flight to Tokyo?
Yeah, which is kind of amazing when you kind of outline it like that, because right now in the whole just general AI space, everyone's kind of freaking out over the release of AutoGPT and all the different self-prompting agent type technologies that are kind of being just developed by
just people
toying around with OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
So you would think, I think that demonstrates that the market's lack of awareness or knowledge of what Fetch even does. This is an actual ecosystem or network of potentially infinite variants of what it is AutoGPT is
That's right.
kind of bringing into the mix. Right?
Yeah. So we installed AutoGPT, and I only have access to ChatGPT 3.5 APIs.
Yeah.
And AutoGPT takes advantage of ChatGPT 4, which I don't have access to.
Yeah.
So every time AutoGPT runs, it charges you per API call in terms of tokens.
Yeah.
So about 1,000 tokens is like, 3 pennies or something like that.
Okay.
So every time we run ChatGPT just to do some research on projects, it costs about, anywhere between 30 cents and 50 cents per hour to do that research.
Yeah.
So it's okay, right?
Yeah.
There's still, I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff in terms of AutoGPT.
Yeah.
But I see the value and its potential.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is just running on my computer. Imagine if you have a decentralized network of servers
correct
that are running these machine learning algorithms to probably get you an itinerary, plane tickets like in under a minute, right?
Yeah.
And so we feel like probably the future of all this AI stuff is just simplified user interfaces. I want a flight to Tokyo. I'm going to be there for a week. Give me some ideas and book everything. The flights, the different events.
Yeah.
Just do it all.
Yeah.
And then just give me a price. It's going to be $4,000. Pay for it, and then I'm off.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. But the question then starts to come in. So if AutoGPT can fulfill all of those, task obligations that you're already theorizing, what is it that the Web3 ecosystems or frameworks like that Fetch is building, or a Tensor or whatever, that's giving developers the opportunity to build on top of that, right? To string together these different types of agents to produce like an actual value service to the humans on the other end of that interface.
Yeah, so the theory is that AutoGPT can already do this, right?
Yeah.
It'll go and do the work to figure out like the itinerary, plane tickets, order you pizza, whatever it is, it'll go and do it.
Or like trade, like
or trading.
One of the most recent announcements of Fetch is, I think, like they're, like we said, they're getting into like the product market fit phase of their growth as a project ecosystem, whatever. And the latest announcement is like a release of trading bot tools, like a suite of tools that I guess has all these super intelligent agents that understand, the markets, how to analyze that. And they're going to act on behalf of the users who want to, still participate in these markets, but don't want to actually have any human input in the actual process.
In crypto, the markets are 24/7. You can't be paying attention. Right? You can set your stop limits and all that.
Yeah.
But it's not paying attention to sentiment at the same time. You're not paying attention to like what's happening with like the tweets in real time.
I mean, you can,
but
that is the value.
You'd be on trying to keep up with everything in real time. Like it's hard to do.
Well, correct. But that's why, they're professionals, professional traders.
Yeah.
That's why they deserve, I guess, like the slice of the pie that they end up inevitably obtaining because they have that expertise. But that's the point. Like now you can inject all the things that, all that valuable data that you do kind of like, curate in your own process to participate in these markets. And now you could deploy it through an agent.
And keep up with it real time.
Or you can monetize that by, letting other people access these agents and then producing like what they're doing here is deploying them to collectively allow like, a very automated tool for I guess the non-traders, right? The people who don't know how to do that or don't have the time, whatever.
Yeah.
But that just gets me thinking, man, like how is that going to disrupt the markets in general? Like if you have just an economy or a market of just agents that are very optimized, they're fed data from the best traders on earth.
Yeah. Well, right? I think these agents still leverage indicators like RSI, like all these different indicators that exist. There's thousands of them, right? And so you as a developer or a trader, you rely on specific indicators that have been working for you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily work for the next guy because he's not looking at the same markets as you are, right? Somebody could be in stock markets and you can be in crypto. They have different indicators because, things move faster in crypto, right? So they use different indicators.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely going to be different agents that enable, the effectiveness of an agent on a particular market.
Yeah.
So I think the question that you're alluding to is what does Web3 enable the agent space that Web2 cannot?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like the built-in like value to being, I guess if we're talking specifically to the developer for now.
For now, yeah.
because I think that is the era that this whole AI sector is in. Is like, how do we get the developer to build useful stuff? Like everybody's laying down the groundwork and framework to just even do that in the first place, right? That's what Fetch is doing, Tensor, and then Ocean Protocol is creating like a whole data economy to support all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just in the Web3 space, you have blockchain, right? Which, by the way, this one is I believe an app chain deployed through Cosmos, right? So but why blockchain? Because there's built-in incentive mechanisms, right? This whole thing is dependent on contributions from.
Yeah. So some like we were talking about earlier, somebody just made AutoGPT. He wasn't incentivized, but it came out, and it's like taking Twitter by storm, right? It's an important evolutionary step for artificial intelligence in terms of like just regular humans using it, right?
Yeah.
So we have a pretty cool product coming out with no incentive. So this tells us that humans have an innate ability or desire just to make cool stuff.
Agreed.
Right.
And with if it's cool but also valuable, then eventually, of course, at some point it can become monetized.
Sure. That's right.
That's the traditional Web2 business approach. I mean, it's fine. It's worked for humanity up until now pretty well, pretty successfully.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. So we've established that humans have this just innate desire to make progress, right? But now comes Web3. Everyone can now make the exact same Web2 products on blockchain, completely decentralized. So blockchain enables an incentivization scheme so that the next developer who decides to make the next AutoGPT, well, they do it on chain and potentially get some sort of income as a result, right? Yeah. Because they're like incentivized by a token, a reward. Right?
Correct. Yeah, and then it supports a much more distributed like curation process. Like it's not just like a singular entity, I guess navigating these machine learning processes. Like by building these type of ecosystems, you're laying the economic foundations for anybody in the world who has something of value to contribute to this whole machine learning process. And then because of that, you're going to have these very strong algorithms, as a result. Yeah. And then you're going to have, very good services and tools for that humans eventually are going to benefit from, right?
That was going to be my next point, is that now that we have a completely decentralized network infrastructure for these developers, you still need data to train these machine learning models, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And that data can be verified by these developers to make sure it's not biased in any one direction. So now you can build a product that doesn't have any biased kind of tendencies.
Yeah.
Unlike a ChatGPT might, or any AI from Apple or Microsoft or Google or whatever. And so now you're able to build products that people can trust because it's open source, it's verifiable.
Correct.
These all attractive things to consumers rather than using like centralized products like a Facebook.
Exactly.
Right? If Facebook came out with an AI that allowed you to book a trip to Hong Kong, it might kind of route towards people paying for ad space. Yeah. And maybe there's like an incentive for like TripAdvisor, for example, to pay for like a specific type of trip. Yeah. Rather than like an independent source. Yeah. And sourced by humans who have been to Hong Kong, for example, and have had a better experience going down this path rather than the one from Facebook. Yeah. So we have like a completely independent sort of a result from these agents rather than centralized agents.
Yeah, and then just the whole Web3 ethos in general of, like you're saying, centralized versus decentralized, because everybody's already aware, or they're becoming aware of the potential dilemmas of if we just leave AI in the grasp of a centralized, economy, then there's a lot of downside risks to that. And so this is a technology that's so impactful. It is going to lead to like some new type of paradigm shift in humanity.
Yeah, even just the interface. Dude, we're going back to command line interfaces. Yeah. If you look at what AutoGPT is, it's just like a command prompt and just text.
For now, yeah. That's just because how early and nascent all this is, right? Yeah. But the point being, we're going to need a decentralized counterpart, right? No matter what. Yeah. And because humanity has a lot at stake in this. So the benefit of supporting these type of ecosystems is anybody throughout the planet can find their place in it simply by owning the token. You don't even necessarily have to contribute data or anything. You could still have ownership within the ecosystem and participate.
Yeah.
Be part of the governance process, and like you have a say, right? Other than just watching all this stuff develop from big tech's perspective. Like let big tech take care of it, and then we just kind of suffer the consequences, whatever that ends up leading to, right? It's like we had no say at all. But at least this presents the option for like a global network of participants, and much more, I think, of a reasonable approach to this type of technology, right?
Yeah. So the big question everybody's wondering: how does this compare to BitTensor?
I mean, I think all this stuff is going to, feed off of each other. Obviously, I don't see.
Well, there's a couple big differences, right?
Yeah.
So we have Fetch.AI. They raised, what was it, $65 million?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the structure of Fetch.AI is different than BitTensor. BitTensor is a foundation.
They have a nonprofit as well, Fetch.
They have a nonprofit? Okay.
Yeah, nonprofit foundation. So I think you're going to have to like structure your organization this way in the AI Web3 space, I think, in order to fit in with that ethos,
regulation is forcing
that too.
Right?
Yeah.
The existence of entities in crypto, no matter what.
Correct. Yeah, but the other big differentiator is, of course, the economics of the token itself between Tensor. Has a much more, I guess, like higher value proposition just because it mimics Bitcoin directly.
Yeah.
Right.
And it has proven tokenomics for 14 years. Right. Nobody can say that.
But it's also because Tensor operates on a proof of work basis, right? So we know what incentivizes people to, I guess, become hardware.
Yeah, it's also hybrid. So it's proof of work and proof of stake.
Correct.
So it's like, imagine if you were mining Bitcoin and then there's another half, the other half incentive is to take your Bitcoin and stake it into the network.
Yeah.
To mine more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty powerful.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So we have tokenomics differences. I think Fetch.AI has like 1.1 billion tokens in circulation.
I think that's the max cap.
That's the max cap. Okay.
Yeah, we can take a look at it real quick. Just take a look at the what's in circulation. I mean, it's basically approaching that max supply.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I mean, you're not going to expect too much like additional sell pressure, as a result of having too much non-circulating.
Yeah.
And like a higher emissions over time. That's something and all ecosystems have to account for.
And the market cap really hasn't gone all that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking primitives here. Any sector that has like arisen in the Web3 space, they start off like this, like very underappreciated.
Yeah.
The market just hasn't come to that collective understanding of the value of what these things are. Just like NFTs, there was a period of time, 2019, 2020, where like nobody saw the value in NFTs except a very small niche community, right? Most of those ecosystems, OpenSea itself was probably doing less than $1 million a day in volume during those times.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, the whole market came to a collective understanding of the value, and then an explosion happens. Right.
Yeah. And now you have a bunch of like PFP projects that look like frogs and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Exactly. And then you got billions coming in, basically. So I think you can expect something similar in the crypto AI space. And Fetch is definitely. This whole agent economy thing it's so hard to wrap your head around because it's so new.
Yeah.
It's so out of like the freaking sphere we live in.
Yeah.
It's hard to really understand the value of it.
Yeah, because we're so used to just our 2D interfaces of like just beautiful interfaces. Yeah. And now we have agents that can just go and do all the work for you instead of you going through an interface.
Right. And so Fetch has done a good job of, I guess, constructing the frameworks and the for this to even be possible, right? So there already is an ecosystem emerging from it. There are developers developing tools and stuff on top of the Fetch stack. So that's something you got to keep an eye on, is just watching that ecosystem grow, see if people find value in the services that are being developed, and then over time, like that's basically it needs like a killer app, right?
Yeah.
Like all new technologies do. Once there is one, then it's going to hit the headlines. People are going to gravitate towards it. And then developers are going to rush in to try and like replicate and do something, similar.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fetch.AI is one to keep an eye on for sure. If you guys have any questions or something that you want us to take a look at, definitely let us know in the comment section below. Follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, at MetaZone.io, and at Roby AI, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.